Hello, everybody. This is Chili Charlie, reporting live from the nest from somewhere. Hope everybody's well, especially during these storms. Been a lot of ice storms and snowfall throughout the country. It's been very perilous, so I hope everybody's being safe and cautious, especially driving on the roads. One of our first stories today. We're going to dive right in it. Just need to remind you who I am. That's the guy right here that you see in front of you. But the first story that we're going to cover today does, in fact, cover what's going on with the storms and just how dangerous and how safe you need to be. So, an ice storm in Portland, Oregon, caused a state of emergency. And in the situation, an 18-year-old young lady by the name of Maja Washington witnessed a pretty horrible scene at her window when a large tree branch fell down and snapped a power line, which fell onto a parked car. The parked car, unfortunately, was being loaded up by uh, Miss Taj Briggs and her boyfriend Nash. They were they were locking their baby up, for travel, whatnot. And that's when the power line hit. Unfortunately, when this happened, the power line caused an explosion to the truck. Well, not an explosion, but it started a fire to the truck. Nash was trying to get his 9 month old baby boy out of the car and away when he slipped on a patch of black ice and fell into more or less a puddle and was electrocuted, died instantly. He fell, his baby landed on his chest. Taj, with her maternal instincts, came to the scene, tried to get the baby and take him to safety as well. Unfortunately, the same fate happened to her. Her little brother, Tyrone, saw what was going on as well from a distance. He was watching I suppose he was watching with his father, Mr. Ronald Briggs, who's mourning the loss of his two children right now, and the family as well are mourning. But Tyrone tried to go out there to help with the situation against his father's wishes, and he unfortunately met the same tragic fate. Now, the 9 month old, as I mentioned, was laying on Nash's chest. Maja had seen what was going on and noticed that the baby was still alive. So she launched herself out the window, ran down to the scene, got on all fours, used her hands to pretty much prevent herself from slipping. And that's when she grabbed the baby, swaddled him in her hands, and got him out of there safely. Fortunately, nothing happened to her. The baby was taken to the hospital, checked him out, and he was perfectly fine. So, fortunately, he survived. But our condolences to the family. We know it's very hard losing a child, losing anybody in the family, but especially a child. Mr. Briggs in some of the clips was very distraught, as any parent would be during a situation like this. So, again, our condolences here at the Phoenix Paradigm to the mourning families, and we wish the baby a safe recovery. He's doing well, but still, you know, wish all the best to everybody, and thank Maja Washington for her heroic actions, displaying confidence and lack of hesitation. She just ran out there and did what she had to do to get the baby safe. We're gonna move on to our next story. It comes from Brooklyn, New York, where Mr. Stephen Ruffin was exonerated Thursday after serving 14 years in prison for a deadly 1996 shooting that he, for years, had been saying he was not he was not the culprit. He was not the perpetrator of the the action and everything. In that regard, this comes as the latest of more than 3 dozen disavowed prosecutors after reinvestigations over the last decade. So it's just a long line, a long tail of defendants claiming that they were coerced in this district and everything in that regard, that the prosecutions were invalid. They didn't commit the crime, more or less. So over a dozen, including Ruffins, were connected to a retired detective, Louis Scarella. During the 1980s and 90s, he was, praised for his case closing prowess. But again, defendants have accused him of coercing confessions, engineering dubious witness identifications, and other troubling tactics, which, of course, he's denied any wrongdoing. So, in our community, we say it a lot. We have a lot of people who are doing times for crimes they didn't commit, but this is just highlighting Brooklyn is doing a big turnover of a lot of cases. So this is just one out of, as mentioned, about in a line of at least 36 or so that they're being overturned. A good thing, but at the same time, prosecutions should, of course, be without doubt. There should be without a doubt that you're locking somebody away for years. You're taking, I mean, this man in particularly lost 14 years of his life. He had the label as a convict, so that affects, his ability to get work, housing, and all these things. And he's been out for some time now. I think he got out back in 2014 or so. Uh, the date might be off on that, but definitely, he's had to struggle with that for years. He's had to struggle with the label being considered, a criminal, convict, all those things, a murderer as the big one. That's the big stigma because it's manslaughter. So it's not a little petty accusation. This is someone's life, and being considered a murderer to like you that's not something that you go around just launching at people. Kind of is an ode or an homage to what happened with the Central Park Five. These five young men who had no no intentions of hurting anybody or anything of that nature. They ended up going to jail for the rape of a young lady who's jogging through the the park at the time. So that's it's unfortunate, but at least we're seeing some changes. Might be some a revolution. I doubt it's a revolution, to be transparent with you all, but at least there is some actions being taken. And if we have more people standing up and able to bring or do deeper investigations, going back and listening these to the people who are saying that they taking their testaments seriously, that they didn't commit these crimes. I know a lot of people that they always say they didn't do it, but sometimes you have to put in the work to actually to make sure, and you should every time put in the work to make sure that you're locking away the correct person. Because Mr. Mr. Ruffins definitely said that he wasn't the killer, and he was more or less he implicated an acquaintance. So he had been saying it for years that he wasn't the killer and it was somebody else. Now they're finally taking that to heart, and he's been exonerated. So happy that Mr. Ruffins has got his name cleared. He can go through, without having to have the stigma on him. And now it's a known fact. So we want to put that out there and just make sure that you all are aware. Just because we call it the justice system, justice is blind and whatnot, it's not always the case. And so that moves us on to our final story of the evening, which belongs to a more positive note. But before we jump into that, if you got any stories or a lead that you want us to follow, do some research on. Go to the link, check it out, tell us what is going on. We'll check it out. We'll do some research and everything, and we'll bring a well put together, researched episode for you all here at the Phoenix Paradigm. Sponsor you, let you shout you out for putting us onto the story, giving us a beat to work. So thank you for that in advance. And our final story is over at Spelman. Spelman College has gotten a very hefty donation from Miss Rhonda Stryker and her husband William Johnston. They're a billionaire couple. Miss Stryker is the granddaughter of the founder of the medical device maker Stryker Corps, and they are giving Atlanta's Spelman College $100 million, which is the largest ever single donation to a historically black college or university, which is awesome. So props to Ms. Stryker and Mr. Johnston for this donation. This happened on Thursday as well, so we're happy. It seems that there is an increasing decision to back black-owned universities, HBCUs rather. I'm saying that because the United Negro College Fund announced recently a donation of $100 million from the Lilly Endowment, Inc. that's to be spread throughout about 37 different universities. But again, this in itself is just a huge milestone. It's uh, just a major donation and a major look, good look to Spelman University, Spelman College rather, and just that people are actually giving to HBCUs. So it's great. It's that we got this donation. Congratulations to the ladies down at Spelman. I heard that they're going to do a lot with uh, using the money to fund scholarships, and then also some was renovation stuff like that, things of that nature. So it looks like the money's going to be put to good use. We hope it's going to be put to good use. We implore you all to put the money to good use, and we're just generally happy that this is what they decided to do. So aside from that, again, it's getting cold outside. Getting cold. It's already gotten cold. It's been cold. So everybody be safe out there. Much love. And I hope you all stay warm, stay safe, stay cognizant of your surroundings, and continue to be the great people that we know you are to be. And my name is Chili Charlie. Once again, I am the host here at The Nest, brought to you by the Phoenix Paradigm. Thank you for your time to sit here, chill out with me, hear the stories, the news that's going on in the black community, some of the positive aspects, some not so positive, but we mix in powerful actions taken by the community, to change the dynamic. So, Miss Maja Washington, again, shout out to you for being heroic and showing, that there's a different side to our black women. We out here, y'all doing. She did a really big thing by putting her own life on the line. She said when they interviewed her that she did what any sane person would do, which we know that's not necessarily the truth. Not saying that she's a liar, but not everybody will do that. So definitely a heroine that's like a female hero, not the drug, but a heroine in her own right. And, that's just my props to you. My props to you for putting your life on the line and doing that. And thank you for ensuring that, we have another member in the next generation moving forward. Who knows? That kid could grow up, become the next president. And that's a very valid thing to say. We had Barack, so he could grow up to be the next president of the United States. But had the situation been more unfortunate. You never know. You never know what would happen. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling at this point. Thank you for showing out again one last time. Again, if you want us to follow any stories, there's the link at thephoenixparadigm.com/leads. Go over there, quick little form, type in what you want us to do some research on, and we'll bring that to you live, sponsor you in the episode, and look forward to seeing you on the next one. All right. Before we go, since you made it this far, I want to thank you, and I hope that you will consider hitting the subscribe button. Leave us a like and a comment if you haven't already. And we'll see you on the next one. We definitely will reply to any comments that you put up there. So go ahead and do that. All right? Peace.